everyone again. So I kind of had a vague idea of what we were gonna do today, in terms of like going through the questions. So I thought that from reading them, the first thing we could do was just kind of like we did last week, go around and then everyone kind of says a little comment about them. So I thought maybe everyone could go around and we could say a challenge that we have faced and maybe a challenge that we'd wish to accomplish in the future. So maybe something we're in the process of completing or something well into the future that we want to do at some point. And that can kind of be making sure that everyone says something. And then I thought, like I did last week, I can open the floor to you guys. And then if there's like a particular question that you wanted to discuss. So I know last week we wanted to discuss about what makes happiness and stuff like that. So if there was any particular question that stood out to you, obviously feel free to say and we can discuss it. And then if not, I know there was some that I thought were particularly interesting and I'm happy to say, you know, which one I want to talk about and we can do that too. So I guess I'll just pick on someone like I normally do. Let's go for Sambel.
Hello.
Hi. So a challenge that you've faced and then something that you'd like to complete in the future.
I can start from the challenge I want to complete in the future.
Okay.
It is Mount Elbrus. I want to hike this mount. I think it's the one of the most beautiful and most interesting mounts in the world. And after that, I want to hike Mount Everest.
Oh wow!
For me, yes. But Mount Everest is very difficult, and I think now I have not so much power, yes, and so much experience to hike this mount. The challenge that I faced, I have faced many challenges. I think one of them is I need to think about this.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. No worries. I understand that sometimes, even when I was like reading the questions, like when they first came through, like sometimes you think that there's so many things that pop into your head at once. It's hard to like pick one. But I like what you're saying about wanting to do Mount Everest. I personally I don't think I could ever do it, even if I really, really trained. I don't know, because when you get really high, it's just so cold, isn't it? And I think you need to have a lot of energy ready to go and stuff. So very impressive that that's something you want to do.
And this mountain hiking is very difficult because of the loss of oxygen. Your body can't do that.
You have to train yourself to get used to not being able to breathe as much. Yeah. Well, I hope to see lots of great photos from the top of Mount Everest when you get up there. Make sure you share them with everyone. Okay. Anush, can you hear?
Hi.
I don't know if did you hear everything that I said?
Yeah.
At the beginning? Yeah. So a challenge you faced and then something you wish to accomplish in the future?
Yeah, for the future, I want to visit all continents, all countries in the world. I think it will be it will be challenging for me because we live in Armenia and their families don't agree that their child will. They don't believe that their child can do that alone. So I think for me it will be a challenge, and I hope that I will do it in the future. And
definitely.
about challenging that I faced, I have a lot of maybe it was challenging for me in personal life to overcome my fears yeah, it was really challenging for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that.
Yeah. So when you say sort of challenging fears and stuff, do you think it's more kind of like pushing yourself to do these things, even if you are a bit scared, and kind of like telling yourself that you can do it and that you, so sort of that, almost like talking about we did last week about being positive and believing that you can achieve what you want to achieve, and not letting yourself be, you know, put off by any kind of obstacles and stuff. So that was a really nice one. And the traveling one's great as well. But I feel like because you guys obviously all share an interest for language, you must all want to go and see bits of the world.
And when we overcome any challenges, small or huge, it's not important. We understand that we can do something impossible, like that.
Yeah, and I say as well, that's something when you manage to achieve something that you maybe necessarily didn't think you could at first, that sort of feeling of accomplishment is great, isn't it? Like there must be one of the best things you can feel in the world. So yeah, that's a really great one. Yeah, I think the world, you know, you've got to go out and see as much as you can. And yeah, doing it independently is a huge, huge achievement. So I hope that you managed to do that. So Farnaz, do you want to go next?
Yes.
Okay.
I have had many challenges in my life. One of the important one is was when I came to Armenia. I didn't know any knowledge about the Russian or Armenian language, and I think 99% of people of Armenian they do not know English, and even I didn't know English fluently. And the next one is at the same time I registered in the university, and I didn't know even. I said that I didn't know English language fluently. I know that, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And but I overcame, and I learned. I was learning both of them, Armenian and English, beside of each other.
Yeah, that's crazy. Very impressive. Did so where are you from originally then, if you moved to Armenia?
I'm from Iran.
Oh wow, that's lovely. Oh, that's just another place as well. Like I can't really comprehend like what it must be like. So I'm very jealous that obviously you've been raised around that kind of completely different culture. So did you find it easier almost, I suppose, because you say you went and joined university, so you had lots of incentive to start learning the languages because you were kind of, you know, learning classes and things. So did that help you pick up the language quicker, do you think?
Can you repeat your question? You mean beside of my university, someone helped me to learning the language and something like
sorry,
that?
I probably didn't word it very well. Did you find it, so because you were at university, did you find it easier to start learning the languages because you were obviously you were going to classes and speaking to people?
No. My university is English. They speak in English, but I started Armenian language from my husband because he was going to the this Hasmik Institute, Miss Hasmik Institute, and he was starting to learning me Armenian language.
Okay, so it was kind of like
as well. Yeah,
different bits, we're learning different bits. Wow,
yeah,
that's crazy. And then do you have something that you want to achieve in the future, so like a challenge that you want to overcome in the future?
Of course, I want to learning more than 5 live languages.
Wow.
Because it's really efficient in my life, and I can communicate to other people.
Yeah, wow, that is incredible. 5 languages, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like, again, I feel like it's the same with all of you guys. You clearly do have a very good ability when it comes to languages, because, I mean, you all speak English amazingly. And then obviously you have Armenian, Russian, probably loads of other ones I don't even know about. So very impressive. Okay, who hasn't spoken yet? Amelia?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the near future, I would like to visit all continents because I really like to travel. I have been in France for twice, and I think that it's not how to say, it's not so okay, I say in another way. I would like to be again in France because I really like this place. I was in Paris, and really I like the people there was. To tell the truth, I would like to be a designer, so I like their style, and I think it is very beautiful and unique. So I think it will be great that I can be in near future in some other countries. And maybe the challenge which I was faced is that I have moved to Armenia from Russia because my parents advised me to come here because here was good people and something like that. But in Russia, it is a little bit, how to say, not our mentality, not the same. And but I really love Russia, and I decided to. I have learned Armenian by myself. It was a little bit hard to me because I moved from Russia. There was always everything in Russia, Russian people, I don't know, something like that. And here suddenly I came, and it was everything in Armenian. My classes and something like that. It was really very hard. But after several years, I understand that it is not that bad that I think. So I think that it was a kind of challenge for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I say this is that kind of thing as well with challenges, is not like giving up on them immediately. You know, some things are going to take time, and it's great that you're able to show that commitment to something. And be like, this is what I want to do, so I'm going to put in the work, and then you get the results, which is great. Yes. And then we get that sense of achievement, like we said, is always really nice and uplifting. Okay, Goha, last but not least.
Hi, and it's nice to see you again.
Yeah, it's nice to see you too.
So I want to say that the biggest challenge that I faced was when I was studying overseas. And it was my first time to live with a roommate. And my roommate had a really complicated, how to say,
character.
Yeah, character.
Personality.
And also I had to get along with a lot of things in China. It was quite a big challenge for me to live in China.
It was China, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and I don't want to mention even about the food.
Yeah. So that was, were you there for a whole year, or was it a semester?
No, just one semester.
Semester, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but did you, so you say it was your roommate's personality that was something that you found a bit of a challenge. Were you able to, did you become friends, or did it stay a bit more of a?
She became my best friend.
Oh, wow. See? Yeah.
And we're talking with her. Yeah. So, and the challenge that I would like to face is something that I fear. For example, to do simultaneous translation, for example, because whenever we fear something, it is the thing that we need to do the most. Because after 100%. You do something that you fear, you immediately feel that confidence.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's very true. I feel like the thing as well with that kind of that fear of it as well, you get that added bonus of like, it's quite thrilling, isn't it, when you do it as well? I feel like a good example is like if you were like if you were scared to go on a roller coaster, or if you were like scared of, like Sambel said, like climbing up really high and going on like a big trek, because you get that kind of rush of fear, which actually feels quite good, doesn't it, when you're doing it, because you then know that you can do something that you didn't think you could do. So I feel like you get that extra kind of like joy out of it. So yeah, that was also a really good one. I was going to say for my challenge, the same as Gohar said about having to go and live abroad when I did my studying in the USA, and like exactly the same thing, like having to go and live in a room with someone who I'd never met before. Because especially at the beginning, if you don't necessarily understand their personality, or maybe they don't seem like they necessarily want to be friends with you, it's quite scary, because you think, I still have to live with this person. And I think you obviously really want it to work, but I'm the same as you as well. Like it all ended up really happy, and we ended up being really good friends. So it shows that, yeah, it's best to just kind of give it a bit of time. Sometimes, you know, you're not necessarily going to be best friends with someone straight away. You know, you can go in and smile and wave, but it might take a, you know, take a bit more than that. And then something in the future, I do definitely feel like traveling is up there for me. Like you guys said, like it would be amazing to go and see the continents. Especially, I feel Africa would be top of my list, because it's kind of similar with what I was saying with Iran. Like I can't even imagine what it would be like, really, because I feel the cultures and the cities and the way of life is just so different from how it is maybe in Europe especially. So I think it would be really interesting to go and see all these other cultures and stuff. But I maybe need to work on my language skills a bit. I'm not like you guys, you know, I'm not challenging myself to speak all these other languages. So maybe I should add that to my list too. And get myself learning some French or Spanish or something, and see if I'm any good at it. So either Samvel, did you want to add something that was a challenge that you faced? I don't know if you've come up with one you want to discuss. No worries if you haven't.
One of the challenges I face, I think it's my profession, because I after the army, yes, after my army delivering, yes, I faced the challenge that I could not find for me a job, and I learned 3 professions, and now I have these qualifications, and now I study university economics for strengthening, yes, for my skills. And now I have good qualifications. I think it's one of the most big challenges I faced, and I could do and face these challenges.
No, that's a really nice one. I like that one. I feel like we spoke about this last week and sort of said that you must be very good at that kind of thing to be able to do like study economics and stuff. So I'm glad that you were able to find something that you enjoy and something that is going to let you do what you want to do with life, which is really great. So now I sort of feel like, are there any questions or comments on the list of things that you guys want to discuss? Was there something that you thought was particularly interesting, or maybe a question you want to ask someone else? I mean, obviously we can know what people said last week, and maybe that has led us to think about what someone might say about a different question. So is there any of them that anyone was particularly interested in?
Can I say one of them?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
I'm interested in heroes, in our heroes that did something amazing. For me, is really a hero is Elon Musk. He's one of the greatest people in our century, because he could build a company that can compete with NASA. And he could give us the perfect solution for our environment saving problems. He built Tesla electric cars, and they are very environment friendly, and they are very, I think, elegant. And he is a very good example what can do one people for our Earth, and how great things can one person. He can be for us very good example.
Yeah, so he's a really good one actually, because I feel like he, especially like you've just said, is a good inspiration because he didn't necessarily have the background that would lead into what he did. Because I know that a lot of people maybe have a lot of help when it comes to going into professions. You know, maybe you have a parent who is already well into the field, and therefore they can kind of bridge you in a lot easier. Whereas Elon Musk, obviously, like you said, this was something that he built himself and something that he was able to accomplish from his own hard work. And I mean, everyone in the world must have at least heard of Elon Musk, even if they don't necessarily follow what he does. So he is, yeah, someone who I definitely can see why he would be, you know, a good example of a hero for you. That was a really good one. Anyone else think of a hero, or maybe someone who's inspired them with something they've done in their life?
Can I say?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Actually, for I think the most of the years, when we ask them that who is your hero in the life, absolutely they say, I think they said my father. And in my life, of course, my hero is my father, because he's doing everything. He's do the best for me, and till now, after 27 years, because I am 27 years old. He's do the best for me, and he's my hero in the life.
That's a really sweet one. I like that. We did discuss parents a bit last week. Obviously, you weren't there for that, Fana, sort of saying that parents a lot of the time are who people feel like they can go to when they're struggling with something, or maybe they're unsure about a decision in life. So it's really nice. I imagine you're the same with your father then. You feel like he is someone who will be able to give you good advice on things that maybe you're unsure of, and will provide that support for you as well. You know, if you come to a crossroads, or maybe you feel like you need to change something in your life, maybe you want to have a new career or something. So yeah, I feel like family a lot of the time, yeah, because of all the time that they've invested in us, you know, we see them as our hero because of you know, they've made a big sacrifice, and it's really nice.
Yeah. I don't know about the other cultures. I think in United States and all the European country, the fathers didn't protect the children after 18 years old, I think. I don't know.
You mean sort of when people become adults?
Yeah.
I think it does depend on a lot of things. So like I'm 21 and I still technically live with my parents. So I do go and live at my university when I go, but when in like the summer when it finishes, I come back and live here, and I still get like financial support from my parents and stuff. But I think it's very true. I think a lot of the times when people turn 18 and that's like the age they become an adult, people do get sort of encouraged that this is the time to go out, and this is the time to, like you said, you know, support yourself and go on your own. And I do definitely know people who've been encouraged in that way. But I feel that I've been very lucky that my parents are still willing to, you know, treat me as a child, even though I am, even though I am a bit, you know, grown up now. So that's nice. Anyone else? A hero they want to discuss? Or a new topic as well? I don't know if there's another one that people want to talk about. I know you're having to think about it now.
Yeah, for example, here we have some people think that facing challenges improves a person. Do you agree or disagree?
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about that. For example, I think that every challenge can change a person. because when you done something, you like make changes in your life. And I think that every challenge that we face has the opportunity to make us into better people. And but we of course must understand that these challenges it's like kind of opportunities for us. And yeah, I agree that every challenge can change our life, our mind. Why not?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That did make me think of a question for you guys, actually. So obviously saying that challenges, when we accomplish them, we sort of say that's a really positive thing and it can make us believe in ourselves more and it can make us happier. But how do you feel is a sort of way that human beings will respond when maybe they set out to do something and they don't necessarily achieve what they wanted to do, or maybe they achieve it, but it doesn't quite have the result that they thought? So do you think that that still changes us, and do you still think that's a positive change, or do you think sometimes it's good that maybe a challenge is almost negative in a way because we don't get what we want? So what do you think about that? Let me know if you need me to sort of reword the question.
Can I answer?
A bit much. Yeah, of course.
I think that success is great, but if you don't succeed, it is also good, because you always learn. It doesn't matter if you fail. So also Chinese people teach that it is completely okay to fail, because you always learn something when you fail, when you don't get the result that you want. You know where to improve, where to do something that you need to do in order to gain whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do you feel as well, Gohar, sort of building on that, that it's important that if maybe you try something and you don't succeed, to you know, have some time to growth and go again? Oh, sorry. Ooh. Sorry, can you repeat that? It broke out for a second.
I want to say that sometimes
it keeps breaking up. Can anyone else hear her?
No.
No, it keeps cutting out. Oh, can she now not hear us either? Anush, can you hear us? She must be having Wi-Fi problems or something. Yeah, do you want to, sorry, it keeps breaking up. Do you mind repeating what you said?
Yeah, I want to say that sometimes we learn from our failures, not from our success.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel as well, if you went through life and everything just went the way that you wanted it to go all the time, maybe eventually if something bad did happen, you wouldn't necessarily be prepared to deal with it. And I feel like maybe it would almost be a bit of a shock to you if something suddenly wasn't going the way you planned. So I think as building up your audience is something that's really important, about not always achieving something first time, or maybe something not quite going how you envisioned it, and being able to continue to try and achieve what you want to achieve, which is really good. Anyone else have any thoughts on that? About kind of maybe not necessarily getting what you want out of a goal, or like Anush said, does it always grow you as a person, or we all kind of agree on what we've said?
I can say something about the negative or positive ways of these challenges. I can say that when we face these challenges, it can be negative as well as positive, because some people can good face their challenges and become more confident and become more stronger. But some people can don't do that, can't change, face their challenges and become and lose their self-confidence, or become demotivated. and I think it can be also negative. It depends on particular situation and particular challenges.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone's response to a certain challenge is going to be different as well, isn't it? Something that someone might see as a small kind of inconvenience, other people might take a bit more to heart and stuff. So I do definitely agree that it does depend on, you know, what's happening in the situation and everything. I kind of wanted to ask you about the one saying what you think maybe the next generation will have to face as a challenge. So I feel like quite an obvious one that maybe our generation feels like it's facing is something like climate change, maybe kind of issues with, I know race is a big one at the moment, isn't it, with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything happening. We're experiencing a lot of maybe turbulence when it comes to people and the environment. So do you think this is something the future generation is going to have to deal with? Do you think they're going to have a completely different thing they've got to deal with? Any thoughts on that?
May I start?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So day after the days, some problems are growing. For example, lacking of water, foods, or air pollution increase, and of course global warming. For the next generation, I think it's they have to face with these problems.
Yeah, definitely. I feel as much as, because it kind of links in with what Samvel said, you know, we've got people like Elon Musk who are creating technologies and things that are trying to help, but these aren't necessarily attainable for everyone at the moment, are they? And we think about maybe countries that aren't necessarily at that point yet, because I know China has a bit of a reputation when it comes to maybe not necessarily caring about the environment as much and sort of really pushing industrial processes and wanting to help itself economically. So I feel like maybe, yeah, the future generation is probably going to have to still be dealing with climate change for sure. Any other ones people think are still going to be prevalent in the future?
I think that people maybe will use technology so much that I mean, it is happening right now. They will gain a lot of sickness. I don't know, for example, back, eyes, everything will just ruin the health.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I feel another big problem that comes from a reliance on technology is people aren't necessarily as active, are they, as they used to be? Like, even if it comes to like people driving around more or people just wanting to stay inside and watch the television to entertain themselves rather than, I don't know, going out to play a game of football or something is a big one, isn't it? And like you said, even it can hurt the back, it can hurt your eyes from using it too much. Do you think you guys could go like a week and not use any technology?
No.
Do you think you could have a whole?
No.
Can I
miss,
especially nowadays?
About technologies. In my opinion, the biggest challenge that the next generation will face are technologies. The technologies have changed our lifestyle and our Earth at all, because today scientists can invent a robot who can think in his own or have opinion, and our next generation must be ready to be not a dominant creature on the earth, because I think today artificial intelligence is more smarter than people, and they will be more resourceful and more resourceful and more intelligent than people, and our next generation should find their own place on the earth with these robots, I think.
Yeah, I think that, bringing up the artificial intelligence is a really good one, because it's one of those things where it starts off as, it sounds a bit like it's going to turn into like, you know, the plot of a movie where the robots kind of rise up against the humans because they become, like you said, they're superior, they're more intelligent and they're more resourceful. and yeah, the human race won't be able to keep up with them. So yeah, I like that thought a lot.
But I think they're not going to be against people. I think much people will lose their workplaces because robot can do these works, these jobs, more efficient and more resourceful than people. Because of that, many people will be unemployed.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have its downsides, isn't it? Yeah.
May I add something?
Yeah, of course.
I think that people in near future can face with the lack of patience or concept of waiting, because, for example, nowadays we have an application where we can register and we need to stay in a queue, so we can choose time, and in that time we can come and, for example, in banks or supermarkets, maybe I don't know, some this kind of places, and I think that everything can be done instead of us. So we can't. We will lose our possibility of communication with people, or, for example, in staying in quiz or something like that. And I think it can be possible.
Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose as well, I mean, we're obviously all, you know, young, and I like to think that we would be around long enough to see, you know, what actually does become, you know, the future generations' problems, and seeing how we'll lose our social skills. Yeah.
Yeah. Lack of social life.
Yeah, I do feel as well that's another one, isn't it, when you just don't have that kind of interaction with people anymore. People will look back and think that having a Zoom conversation is just really strange, and people won't do that anymore. So we're going into the last couple of minutes now. So does anyone have any final comments about anything we've discussed? Feel free to go back on anything that we've, you know, may have moved on from the beginning. Any kind of final comments or any questions for each other or anything?
No.
All good?
No.
Yeah. Good. So how do we think these kind of questions compared with last week? Which ones did we enjoy discussing more?
I think this one.
You prefer doing this kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah. I suppose it depends as well what people have experienced as well in the past, doesn't it? And how much maybe you have, how many opinions you have about a certain topic and things. But you guys always have, you know, really good insights into things. So I find it really interesting hearing what you have to say, especially kind of like Fanaz was saying about not necessarily knowing how other cultures and how other people would feel about things. So it's really nice getting a completely different perspective, but also seeing that we do kind of agree, you know, it's good. So yeah, thank you again. I had a really good chat, same as last week. And I will see hopefully everyone again next week. I
will send you a new topic, so you will choose. If you like, we'll go ahead. If not, I'll change the topic. Okay?
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
No worries, guys. Guessing it's gonna.